Hello viewers, welcome to my channel Pharmacypedia. In this session, we are going to discuss further about the pilot batch scale-up considerations for the solids. Since the topic is very big, I have divided it into various small parts. In this session, we will be covering the solid part. So what are the pilot plant scale-up considerations for the solids? The topic has been taken from the Unit 1 Pilot Plant Scale-up Techniques of Industrial Pharmacy 2. This is Dr. Shikha Chauhan, and if you're visiting my channel for the first time, please do like, share, and subscribe to my channel Pharmacypedia for getting further updates. When we talk about the solid dosage forms, the two main dosage forms which comes in our mind is tablets and capsules. So when we talk about the scale up of these dosage forms, when we talk about the laboratory to commercial manufacturing of these dosage forms, we need to keep certain factors in our mind. The very first is the batch size. What batch size we are planning? When we run in the laboratory, we work at a very small scale. But when we go for the commercial manufacturing, when we go and plan for the pilot batch, we need to consider what should be the ideal batch size. Then how the operation has to be carried out. We also need to consider the different types of the equipments which are involved in the manufacturing of this pilot batch. We need to understand the instruments which are required for the analytical technology for the analytical method estimation of the produced commercial batch. Also, we need to understand what are the various probabilities of the various size requirements for the equipments. So whenever we plan for the pilot batch, we need to keep in our mind about the batch size, the different processes, equipments, and the requirements. Specifically considering the solid dosage forms, we not only have the active pharmaceutical ingredients, but we have the disintegrants, diluents, binders, and lot many excipients. So when we talk about the preparation of these solid dosage forms, we need to understand the chemical and physical properties of the drug substance along with these excipients. So the characteristics of the material like the density, size, shape, and static charges must be taken into consideration. Apart from that, what are the different equipments we are planning, how it has to be worked out, what will be the process flow. For example, the lifting and tilting of the drums or the vacuum loading systems. What about the screw feeding systems, metering pump systems? So the very most important thing here is to understand that the material handling should be to get the precise amount, to get the accurate amount of the ingredient, and there should not be any sort of the contamination. The cross contaminations must be prevented if a system uses transfer of materials for more than one product. Now, this can be easily accomplished by the use of a validated cleaning procedure for the equipments. Since sometimes what happens is that you have many products which are lined up for the manufacturing. So in that case, the cleaning of the equipment is very important. The equipments which are commonly used for the preparation of the solid dosage forms. So when we plan for the pilot batch, we need to ensure that all the equipments which have been used should be thoroughly clean. Next is about the chemical weighing part. So a dedicated central weighing department should be there when we plan for the solid dosage form development. So this department should be responsible for the avoidance of any sort of the problems associated with the weighing. It should be designed in such a way that there are regular supervisions, checks, and controls, and the sanitation and the weighing equipment should be properly calibrated. They should have adequate cabinets. They should have all the facilities for weighing down properly. Apart from that, the labor cost should have to be taken into consideration, and the department should work well to provide to avoid any sort of the cross contamination among the products. In the tablet dosage forms, the blending is very important. The granulation step is very important. When we go ahead for the wet granulation, we need to understand that the granules have to be very well designed and prepared. So the powders which is to be used for the encapsulation or to be granulated must be well blended to ensure good drug distribution. Ununiform blending may result into disasters because we are hereby dealing with the pharmaceutical product. So the blending has to be very much accurate. It should be have a higher stirring time or the higher blending time to avoid any sort of the unhomogeneous mixture. We ultimately want a good distribution, and therefore all the steps should be taken to ensure that all the ingredients are free of the lumps or the agglomerates which are produced by continuously screening or milling of the ingredients. So we do the sieving, we do the milling to avoid any sort of the formation of the lumps or the agglomerates during granules production. It should also be done to avoid any sort of the flow problems, because we want a good flow from the hopper to the compression table, and that is possible when we have a good quality of the granules produced. So non-reproducible compression and encapsulation process in order to facilitate the content uniformity. Whatever API we have added, whatever excipients have been added, first of all they should be mixed very well, they should be blended very well, so that we have a homogeneous mixture. Once we have obtained the homogeneous mixture and we and go ahead for the granulation process, we need to ensure to blend the right amount of the binding agent in a proper way, and they have to be dried out very well, and so that the ultimate flow property should be grow. A good flow property can determine the more characteristic features of the produced tablets. Next, let us try to understand the dry blending and dry compression process. We use different sorts of the blenders on a commercial scales, like V blenders, double cone blenders, ribbon blenders, slant cone blenders, bin blenders, orbiting screw blenders, vertical and horizontal high intensity mixers. So they will facilitate the production of homogeneous granules. The factors which affects the optimization of the blending process is the order in which we add the components. Apart from that, the speed is very important. Planetary type mixtures or tumbling mixtures or cone type mixtures, the mixing time is very important. You may have good mixer, but until unless you run it for a sufficient period of the time, which will ensure that there is a homogeneous distribution. The use of the auxiliary dispersion equipments with the mixers, and apart from that, the mixing action has to be determined by the mechanics. It has to be understood by the optimum working volume and the normal working range. So the equipment has to be understood very well in order to ensure the homogeneous mixture. My dear students, it is very important here to understand when we move from the laboratory to the commercial, since we are dealing with a large batch size, the same stirring time may not be sufficient at the commercial scale. So we do need to have understood the chemistry of the equipments, because the equipments at the commercial scale are different from the R&D scale. So again, it becomes very important to take these factors into consideration while planning for the success of the pilot batch. Next, let us try to understand the dry granulation stage. So the dry products which cannot be compressed directly due to the poor flow and compression properties are done by the slugging method. So the slugging is actually done by using the tablet press of 15 tons. So after the compression, the slugs are further broken down by the hammer mill with suitable particle size distribution. So the granulation by the dry compression can also be achieved by passing the powders between the two rollers, which put further pressure of 10 tons per linear inch. Then we obtain the slugs, and then they are being dry compressed. So the difference between the dry granulation and the wet granulation is that in the dry granulation, even the binding agent is in the dry form, and we produce the slugs. Next, we proceed to the wet granulation. So the wet granulation is one of the best way to produce the best quality of the granules. If the granules are good, definitely you are going to get a good quality of the tablets. So ultimately, to impart the good flow properties to the material, we need to go ahead for the wet granulation. It also increases the apparent density of the powder. It also changes the particle size distribution and ensures uniform dispersion of the active ingredients. Wet granulation has been carried out using the Sigma blade mixers and heavy duty planetary mixers. Wet granulation can also be prepared using the tumble blenders equipped with the high speed chopper blades. More recently, the use of the multifunctional processors, which are capable of performing all the functions, are required to produce a finished granulation, such as the dry blending, wet granulation, drying, sizing, and lubrication in a continuous process in a single equipment. My dear students, when you have these sorts of the multifunction processors, the task become very easy, and the tablets formed are also of the good quality. So we need to ensure and take care of the parameters. For example, the factors which ultimately influences the fluidized bed granulators are like temperature, pressure ranges, different volumes, spray nozzles, nozzle position, number of the sprays, product and exhaust air temperature. So these are the factors which can ultimately affect the quality of the tablets produced. So we do need to check and set these properties very well. Next, we move on to the drying. This process again is very important in the production of the solid dosage forms. For example, by the circulation of the hot air oven should be proper, which is heated by either by the steam or the electricity. The very important factors to be considered as a part of the scale up of an oven drying operations are airflow, air temperature, and the depth of the granulation on the trays. You must all have seen these tray dryers in your laboratories, and if the granulation bed is very deep or too dense, the drying again becomes inefficient. So you have to spread it out well. You have to check whether the drying has been complete inside the bed also. Next, talking about the drying times, it has to be done at specific temperature for a specific time period. The airflow should be uniform. The fluidized bed dryers are an attractive alternative to the circulating hot air ovens. So very important factors should be considered, like the inlet loads, optimum loads, rate of airflow, what is the airflow, how is the distribution of the airflow, what is the inlet temperature and the humidity conditions. So these parameters are considered have to be considered very well when we go for the drying of the granules formed, because airflow, air temperature, depth of the granulation on the trays actually ensures the proper drying of the granules. So monitoring of the drying process by the use of moisture and temperature probes and drying times at specified temperatures and airflow rates for each product. The parameters to be considered for the drying process by using a fluid bed dryers for the scale up are optimum loads, airflow rate, air temperature, and humidity. So my dear students, you have to look and check for these parameters while you are planning to go ahead for the solid pilot plants. Next, talking about the particle size reduction. Once we have dried the granules, the next step is sieving or any technique, screening technique whereby we are actually producing the homogeneous size of the granules. So the compression factors which may be affected by the particle size distribution are flowability, compressibility, uniformity of the tablet weight, content uniformity, tablet hardness, and tablet color uniformity. So the very first process is to determine the particle size distribution, and this can be done by the use of the stacked sieves of decreasing mesh size. So particle size reduction of the dried granulation of the production size batches can be carried out by passing all the material through an oscillating granulator or using a hammer mill or a mechanical sieving device, or in some cases a screening device. So as a result, ultimately the scale up of the milling or the sieving operation, the lubricants and glidants which in laboratory are usually added up to the final blend are usually added up to the dried granulation. So because it is done, because these additives such as magnesium stearate tend to agglomerate when added up in the large quantities in a blender. Talking about the further cleaning facilities, the cleaning of the equipment is very important because we have to avoid all sorts of the contamination. So there should be a presence of separate rooms with the availability of more space to carry out the operations. It should have the sufficient and adequate arrangement for the washing and drainage facilities. It should must have the cold, hot water and steam supplies as and when required, and platform should be with the stainless steel or the non-dust material. The air conditioning system is further encouraged, but if absent, windows must be screened, and use of multifunctional processing systems. So granulation handling and the feed system, the handling of the finished granules again is very important. So nowadays the properties of the material like size distribution and flow properties actually affects the tablet properties, and therefore they have to be taken care, and so that whatever tablets we produce, they are having the uniform content, have the tablet weight and appropriate thickness and the hardness. For efficient cleaning so of the sophisticated material, handling systems like the long length transfer tubes or like valves and pumps can be made to make the operation easier. Next, we move to the tablet compression characteristics. So, general considerations are like the filling of the empty cavities with the granules, pre-compression of the granulation, compression of the granules, ejection of the tablet. So, these processes have to be carried out on the compression machine. So, we should look for the tablet speed. High speed tablet compression depends on the ability of the press to interact with the granules. So, during selection of a high speed press criteria should be considered about the what is the granulation feed rate, at what speed the tablets are being formed, what should be the delivery mechanism. It should not change with the particle size distribution, and there should not be any sort of the segregation of the coarse and the fine particles in any way, and it should not produce any sort of the static charges. Talking about the tablet compression further, it has to be bear in mind that certain factors have to be learned with the expertise. For example, the smaller the tablet, the more difficult it is to get the uniform to fill the high press speeds. For high speed machines, induced die feed systems are there, using making use of the paddles or the various speed capabilities. Compression of the granules usually occurs as a single event. The punches has to penetrate the die to a preset depth. So this the setting of the dies puncheon ultimately affects the compaction of the granules, the thickness of the granules, and the time taken to produce a size of the required size of the tablets. So the final event is the ejection of the compressed tablets from the die cavity. So during compression, the granules must be further compacted to form the tablets bonds within compressible material. High level of the lubricants or over blending can sometimes result in soft tablets. So this has to be taken care into consideration. Apart from that, the binding to the die walls can also be overcome by designing the die within this size range, ranging from 0.001 to 0.005 inch wider at the upper portion. So in order to facilitate the these sort of the bindings. So my dear student, the tablet compression step is the most critical step for the solid dosage forms. So the appropriate die feed systems and appropriate temperature and pressure setting, humidity settings are being required to produce the good quality of the tablets, and they parallelly has to be go for the in process quality control checks. Talking about the tablet coatings, nowadays large number of polymers are there, so we need to check for the polymer properties. We need to ensure for the new developments in the coating technologies, utilizing the different types of the coater, ranging from the sugar coating pans to the perforated coating pans and fluidized bed coating systems. The tablet must be sufficiently hard to withstand the tumbling to which they're subjected to in either the coating pan or the coating columns. So when we talk about using any equipment, we need to understand what are the settings, what are the temperature requirement, what are the humidity requirement, so that we should understand when we take out the pilot batch, they have to work in an efficient manners. If you want to study for the details, you can check my another video which is available in the BFARM fifth semester playlist for the complete tablet dosage forms. It will make you clearly understand that we have to consider the different factors, different parameters while going ahead for the preparation of the solid dosage forms. So these solid dosage forms have to be considered, these parameters have to be considered, since ultimately we want a tablet which is having a good strength, which can bear all the pressures, and for which there should be all the criterias as per the pharmacopoeias have to be fulfilled. Talking about the hard gelatin capsules further, the filling of the capsules are further done by the Janasi or the different machines, for example, the Marshall forms slugs or the Hoflager Karg machine. Weight variations have to become with the in a proper specifications. Lubrication has to be taken care in terms that there should not be any sort of the weight variations. Disintegration, dissolution, bioavailability parameters should be fulfilled, and the characteristics of the granulation and the finished products are greatly influenced by the type and the size of the equipment used. So whatever equipment we use, we need to analyze the properties of the processed powder with like particle size distribution, bulk density, compressibility, and it should have a good flow. Then only we either we produce the tablets or the capsules. We will be able to get the good quality of the tablets and capsules once we have taken these factors into consideration. Then the equipment again is very important. The setting of these powders with the equipment, the expertise, and the prevailing temperature and the humidity conditions will ultimately define the quality of the produced pilot batch. If we consider these factors, I'm sure that the pilot batch is going to be successful. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please do like, share and subscribe to my channel Pharmacypedia for getting further updates. In my further video, I will be sharing the pilot batch considerations for the liquid dosage forms.